The Huntington Library, Art Museum, Botanic Gardens. Located close to Pasadena in the United States, California, Los Angeles. This is the Huntington Gallery. The admission tickets need to be bought every month. On the first of the month there is a free admission, but you need to book it like 2 months in advance. This is the welcome area of the Huntington Gallery. There's a large car park. Huntington. So this is the Huntington Library. So many different species of plants were part of his collection. In the Huntington Library. Love of nature, love of art. February the 23rd, 2020. So this we can see different plants. Roman beauty rosemary. Somebody's been olive trees. Huntington Gardens. Celebration Gardens. Bottle brush.
Well, we haven't been here in a long time.
That's clear.
Now I want you to actually consider, if you were Henry Huntington, put yourself in his shoes, and today is a fairly clear day. You can imagine if you took away the buildings and all of vegetation, except for maybe orange trees, you would see what impressed him when he came out here to visit, and why he decided finally in 1902 to buy up some property. And you could see clear up to those San Gabriel Mountains. And then down below, if you got rid of all these trees and this vegetation, you might have a clear shot, if you were high enough, to see the ocean. Because that's about 20 miles south. And the interesting thing is when I said collections-based, we have some very curious type of plants that belong way across the ocean, but not necessarily here in California. There's big trees, these two trees, these are called New Zealand Kawari pines. They're actually a pine tree. And in New Zealand they're referred to as widowmakers because the lumberjacks have to be very careful because once those pine cones develop, they get to about 18 inches, and if they drop on your head, goodbye. And your wife is a widow. And the exhibit right behind it is called Orbit. It's a recent installation. It's in the shape of a Nautilus shell. And like the seashells that you pick up and put in your hair, that large giant seashell.
Queensland Kauri. It's actually from Queensland.
That means that a satellite is traveling on tracking space station. And then,
Do you get some JPL people coming in?
yes, they did. They helped design it. That and JPL and NASA. see some of the most rare books that are part of Mr. Huntington's collection. And then to the left is the original mansion, the residence. He had quite a number of houses, but this one was constructed in 1910 and completed in 1912. Okay, you ready to go into the cactus garden? Okay, follow me. Process of changing the approach to the cactus garden to make it more bloomy season. These when they go into bloom, it's usually December and January. It's really spectacular because you'll see a lot of blooms like the ones that are sort of finishing off of orange, yellow, and bright scarlet. And then the base of these are agaves. The interesting thing about aloes is when they go into bloom, they regenerate. Agaves, when they go into bloom, they die. Sort of like human beings. Once they reproduce, they've done their job.
But they don't reproduce, then they live forever? Yes. Dig in.
Long-necked
like it.
Stegosaurus. The vegetarians would eat these with the dinosaurs. And they come in two separate genders. The little one with a cone there is turning sort of a yellowish orange, that's the male. And the females, I'm not too sure which ones are, but usually the females, I can show you when we get over to the house, have a fuzzy sort of egg yolk. Okay, you're at the top of the desert garden. It was established in 1907. That was one of the first gardens that was organized by a horticulturist named William Hertrick, who was hired by Mr. Huntington in 1906 to develop these gardens. And what you see are usually a representation of plants that are native to the American Southwest, as well as parts of the the western part of Chile, which is also a Mediterranean climate. And further down, where you see all these columns over here, these fuzzy columns you don't want to fall into, that represents mainly the top part of our collection that comes from Mexico. And then at the very bottom, or the base of the cactus garden, is devoted to plants that are really from South America. We have a beautiful collection of a bromeliad called puya that will bloom in a brilliant sort of neon blue and then turn pink at the top.
Are they in the jungle garden or in the...
No, we're going to go to the jungle garden in just a few minutes.
And the South American ones are which term?
The part of the cactus garden. Okay?
When do those bloom down? Those
March, I think. Started in 1905. It's one of the very first gardens that Mr. Hertrick established for Mr. Huntington. And most of the collection here are over 100 years old. They're palm trees that do well in a Mediterranean climate zone. And Mr. Huntington had an ulterior motive besides actually having a beautiful collection of palm trees. He wanted to find something that would make the real estate that he was selling and subdividing attractive to people back east. And what would be more exotic and attractive than some plant that does well and doesn't need too much water? And he found it. Step over here, you see that very tall, narrow palm tree? That's the Mexican fan palm, and that was used as a landscaping tool to help sell those tracts of land. And it worked. It became the icon of Southern California. I don't know how much you want to attribute that to Mr. Huntington, but the idea worked very well. And the thing about palm trees is that there are, this is just a small representation of palm trees. Palm trees, these particular trees do very well in a dry, arid climate. And that includes date palms that you'll see in Palm Springs and Indio. as well as certain palm trees that you'll find in the tropics, which we have some over on the other way. Does anybody have any questions about the palm?
It's a wonderful fragrance.
Therefore, when they are burning the Congo, they are destroying the life of the earth, which is what we're doing. It's very bad. So all the people, the students planting trees again.
Oh yeah. I see all the different. This is really
It's grass.
It's a relation.
In fact,
But they're really something to maintain if
large strengthening of the orchid family. And the third is the rose family. I recently found out that
she didn't like
this is a good example of an epiphyte, because epiphytes, unlike parasites, they live on a host plant because they do not have a root system. These are more commonly known as staghorn ferns. They're very sensitive to sun, so you don't want to put them in direct sunlight, but you can buy these in nurseries. And this one is doing very well. It came with the Psychag collection. And when Mr. Whitelot got passed away, he did all of these plants to us. We almost lost them all because we waited too long. This is what you're talking about, bamboo palm. Yeah. This is a very interesting tree. It's a ficus tree, or more commonly known as a fig tree, and you can tell why. This one is a native in India because the fruit is so sort of interesting. It comes out of the trunk rather than out of branches, which is more traditional. And it starts out, this fruit starts out as burgundy, and then when it gets green, it's supposed to be ripe. Now, before you ask, I have already questioned people who visited this place from India and asked them, is this edible? And basically, they make a funny face. So I get the answer from them. Well, they feel like little grenades. They're really they're very hard.
Have you
Standing on a inactive earthquake fault called the Raymond Hill earthquake fault, and this had a lot to do with the construction of Mr. Huntington's house. I'll give you that information in just about 2 minutes. But these springs feed down to the fish pond below, and they're very interesting. And also, it goes through the Australian garden. It's another garden. We don't have the time to go through there. But you're welcome to go anywhere you want. Is that we sort of dragged our heels when we went to pick up the collection. You can imagine about 750 of the plants that are fairly sizable, until the estate manager notified the Huntington thing, we're going to subdivide the estate, and you've got about 72 hours to get your collection out of here. And so they hired a lot of U-Haul trailers and just brought them over.
Huntington Library. Lovely view.
6 houses that Henry owned over the course of his lifetime. This was commissioned in 1909. The construction started in 1910 and was completed in 1912. And it's what I alluded to about the earthquake. This is the first reinforced concrete structure in Southern California. And the reason for that is because Henry owned a home up in San Francisco, and you know what happened in 1906. Both his house and his aunt's was destroyed, and his aunt had a collection of like Rembrandt, Vasquez, beautiful paintings that were all up in flames. So we have documented.
You said from 9 to 12 to build this?
1909 it was commissioned.
Right.
And commissioned by to an architectural firm, Hunt and Gray. And and they're ones that also designed the football stadium, the Rose Bowl. They also designed the original campus of Occidental College and are responsible for the mission. Caltech. Okay, thank you.
So this was his house.
This was his house for about 4 months out of the year. He also had a mansion in New York and also in San Francisco. And it looks like a large orchid tree. And then finally, when the orchids are finished blooming, you get these pods, as you can see on the top of these. And when those pods split open, every little seed has a filament on it that floats around, and it looks like it's snowed all over here. And the minute we put the water down to water things, those filaments get very slippery. So we have to sort of cordon this off because people can slip on it. It's an interesting tree.
What time of year is that?
We just finished the blooming, so you see the pods.
Patio. Beautiful gardens.
You saw one like that in your wardrobe.
Yeah, they're all over the world.
I've never seen it. They had biggest buttons.
House. It's a library.
All over the world. And most of these plants are not California plants.
Hey, this is basically the carriage entrance of the house because it was built during the change from horse and buggy to the automobile. And some of the visitors that would come to the Huntington to visit the Huntington would come up in a horse and buggy, and you'll see these slots here, and at the other end, the staff would come out, put these huge planks in to keep the horses from moving around, and then disembark and go in. And this is the entrance that you will go in. Designed by the architects for the house, Hunt and Gray. And it's about 2 football fields long. Take a guess at what they used to do with this lawn.
Polo.
More
Croquet.
croquet. Very good. And the statues on both sides are 18th century statues of mythological characters. Here's the site over here. And on both sides, which I don't have time to take you through, but they're in bloom right now.
Are you allowed to walk on that grass or not?
Oh, sure. Their camellia collection. They are in bloom right now, and that's really worthwhile to go and see. And Uncle Collis was exceedingly wealthy, and he's the one that completed the Transcontinental Railroad, or one of the people. And the thing is that she helped her mother probably entertain in the boarding house, because men at that time did a lot of card playing. In fact, she got associated with a card shark. And the interesting thing is that at the age of 19, she became pregnant.
Garden of flowering fragrance. Many donors.
Camellia matches your sweater.
Japanese apricot.
And her shoes.
I love it. They're very comfortable.
Yeah,
They're all birds.
And camellias
The only problem is they only come in full sizes.
next to the European style buildings is a Chinese garden.
The Chinese garden was installed in 2008 and primarily subsidized by the Asian community in California, because California has the largest Chinese population outside China. And they're very generous. And the interesting thing is that the Chinese garden is exceedingly complicated.
Chinese garden. Every window is different. Each garden window is different. It's wonderful. Fragrance is wonderful at the moment.
Very interesting because the name of it is the pavilions are washing away the fluff. You go down there and try to fill that.
Oh yes, it's very authentic.
The pavilion down there that he was talking about, that's along the road. If you just kept going, you'd wind up in the Japanese garden. So it's really easy to, you can't get lost. I think we're going to go ahead and follow.
Small oranges.
The weeping willows dipping into the pond. A lot of these particular pavilions over here. We walk by it, the doorway. Advisor as far as how to spend money, and she was an expert at doing that as far as art and also furnishing homes and so forth. And he wanted to reciprocate at a point where he was getting, he really just adored his aunt. And so he wanted to give her something that, how could you give somebody who was one of the wealthiest women in the United States? She had all the jewelry she wanted. She didn't wear she did wear very fashionable clothes. They were all in one color. Yes.
The Japanese garden.
Because she was like Queen Victoria. She was more. And that's the secret to the Japanese garden. There's going to be also an expansion of the Japanese garden. They're going to be adding a samurai magistrate tea ceremony. Yeah. So we can do the tea ceremony indoors. And also we have 2 bonsai courts as well as
The Japanese garden, the rose garden.
Yeah.
There is another wonderful kari tree.
So is that the same type of weather they made now?
Looking out over the Los Angeles house.
Because it's resistant to some extent to insects.
These are roses developed by the gardeners at the Huntington. Very beautiful flowers.
Okay, we're almost done. We'll go this way.
It's coming in Arabella, Huntington, and Henry Huntington. These are the tapestries. Came from the Louvre. They extended the height of the ceilings to fit these tapestries. This is the house of Huntington. Getting the books. Reserved seating. These were sold off from Versailles. Electronic information. by George Romney. Exquisite. The furniture.
Well, here's look at the other chandelier. Wow. This is the one that's modeled on
It's over in Pasadena. Okay, I'm going to if you are very tired of some places, you can sit here. Or you can wander with that. When you get tired, and you need to sit, you can sit there on the bench.
Who lives?
This family.
Thomas Gainsborough. Are they visiting or are they living there?
No, it's their home.
Are they being evicted because of a bad landlord?
No. The landlord couldn't find them. They came out to the forest.
Okay.
They moved into their own abode.
That's nice of... Who's Carla?
It doesn't belong to a landlord. Carla? Into their things. And that's better.
This is a grand room. The Blue Boy is normally here, but the Blue Boy is under repair. Next to the Gainsborough's gallery. It's a stained glass. A little bit of everything in this gallery. On the second floor, above the stained glass, there's a gallery of mixed paintings and artwork. Variety. Side gallery. Setting sun. Jules Brenton. Miss Lawrence. Three Witches. It's really contrast. Tom Constable.
Says he's a mere 2 years younger than the artist. Wow, impressive.
View of the stars. Free Cathedral. One of many. Constable.
Almost like a
painting by Edward Bird. There's a lot of activity going on there. It's called The Country Auction, 1770. 1812. Same time the French-English wars are going on. Just tell you. Grand Canal, seen from Venice. Turner's vision. So the house that we're in, the Huntington lived in, has this wonderful collection of art. Many stories. Volcano. Violent life.
It's Mount Vesuvius.
There you go.
I was just there. But it wasn't exploding.
It wasn't like that, yeah? Fortunately. Silver collection. That's the view of the garden. Can get both views. Paintings, Chelsea porcelain. Tapestries. Yeah. By the master of Castillo Nativity. 16th century. So Huntington Gallery has a really wide collection of art. Virgin and Child of St. John, attributed to Francesco Granese. Sebastian Manati. It's another same subject. It's a portrait of a young woman facing a young man, both by Domenico D'Augerlando, Italian. So paintings made on tempera.
This guy. Yeah. This one.
You can see in 1470. Spoon collection. Statue. Diana, the hunter. This is the second floor of a house. Going down a revolving staircase, the grand staircase of their house.
No, just hair stopping.
Coming America.
Never seen that.
I've never been.
Oh, well, okay, all right. We've got some things that are off view, but let me just show you where some things are. Just show you, but this is all early Where are we? We're right here. Okay, yeah. Right
American art.
close off, so you will see, get down here, you won't be able to go there. Down here, and right here, you can come in and go down here.
The theme of this is harnessing nature. The big quilts.
Quilting.
Interesting. Chairs. Spinning wheel. Painted furniture in boxes. These are aspects of American culture. Boxes. Portraits of a man and woman. Susan Ames. Portrait of two children by Stoughton Hadburn. Portraiture during the colonial era in the 19th centuries. Illustrations of what these colonialists were like. part of a permanent collection. Starts here. Glass, not glass, but glass. 12 glass houses in colonial America. William Cruz Bridge, the Woodlands. John Singleton Copley. Here he goes. Eagle.
Eagle. The American eagle.
He's an Asian influential client. Greens. So these galleries have all sorts of art. Inlaid woodwork, tapestry. It's a lot of woodwork. Green and Green dining rooms of Laura Bell Robinson House, 1905. Beside the edge of a wood. Some parts of the gallery, chairs and paintings, furniture to describe. Come out to the chairs again. Did you take that painting for your home, Carla? The gentlemen are moving it for you. It's nice. Quite a diverse collection, from modern to old.
This looks more modern. More colors and
That is interesting. Americana. At the conservatory. And many plants. It is misted. So a little bit of fog on the screen because of a mist that has just come. Okay. Plant lab. So children to understand about plants. Educational center. Brown spores. So it's describing club moss over time, how plants evolved, the features of plants, the spore capsules, moss leaves are only one cell thick.
So we didn't see the corpse plant.
So we're taking the video here of
Those are children's gardens.
children's gardens, and that's the mausoleum where
Someone
they
is
live.
buried there.
Isabella Huntington. Hairy roots. Pops up in water. It's animated.
Roots and shoots.
Roots and shoots, indeed. Children can enjoy. Very hands-on. Stems. Different sorts of stems. Different sorts of seeds. Plants eat dirt.
We have a lot of this in
Question. Do plants eat, how do they get big? Do they eat water or soil? And the answer was no. They must get their weight from something else. So the discovery of photosynthesis. Very nice old buildings, but over 100 years old. Large seeds. Darwin orchid. How rainy is the rainforest? 217 inches, 200 inches. Children's garden. The water is turned on again. Forest, misty, cool and tropical. So much mist. Leaf cells that observe water.
Sweet out there. This is how our friends come and sit out there.
Orchid pollination. This is bog. soggy and wet acidic soils. Different types of plants grow here as well. Pitcher plants, sundews, Venus flytrap. Count the corpses. Now I could look at the different insects that died in the pitcher plant. Epiphytes, yeah. It really has a wonderful collection of, from art to plants.
Do you see all of them, the epiphytes? Everywhere.
Everywhere.
There we go. Look at these.
Yeah, stilt roots characterize many members of the
Still
pandan
It's
family.
the smell of groundnuts.
Tropical Africa. And forest spices. You can smell. We have different spices here. Rainy. It was really areas of a rainforest. And there's fish. The world's largest flower. It's stinky. It's a parasite. The ceramic. Good. Here's some dead leaves. The literature of Californian English. And a legal vote. Votes for later. Views. Collection of Huntington Library. William Shakespeare. True original copy. Tragedies. The Tragedy of Hamlet. I have a collection of many ancient scientists revealing a new world. History of plants. King's Great Matter. Tyndale Bible. Thomas More's books. Spanish conquest of Peru. Ocean World. A map of the New World. Part of the picture of this. Canterbury Tales. Corrals. Those rights. World's first scientific journal of Royal Society transactions. Isaac Newton, letter to Robert Hooke. The bomb. Book. Charles Dickens. Ideas that changed the world. Astronomy. Is the Earth the center of the universe? Isaac Newton, William Herschel.
What books did he name?
Observation, history of natural observation, medicine, structure. Many original manuscripts in the galleries. Astronomy, natural history. Examples of letters from Wallace, from Mendel, from Watson and Crick. Olivia Lamarck. Medicine. Images of nature. Structure. Healing. Many of these manuscripts are portrayed in this manner. Electricity. Energy from the sun. And I have a study area with books for people to study as part of an interactive library. You can see nature. Beautiful science. Ideas that changed the world. Library today.
What is this about?
Some people are looking at the books
This part is so scary.
Why is it scary?
It's stunning.
In 1872, they said the only question left to be settled is, are women persons?
And what do you think?
I think that they were insane.
You had this picture here,
Isn't
right?
that the neurological
Yes.
There was something here, now it's gone.
Yes, it's a ghost.